Hello, everybody, and welcome to another version of Showbiz Buzz with Bruno. I'm Michael Bruno, your host, and today I'm talking with the multi-talented, amazing star of stage, screen, and a legend in all of our minds, Claybourne Elder. Clay, thank you so much for taking time out and speaking with us today.
Of, of course, and thank you for that's the nicest introduction I've had in a long
And I'm
time.
not going to be recording it
Thank
for
you.
you to use on your resume.
I appreciate
So,
it.
Clay, tell us a little bit about your cabaret show that you're bringing to Madison. If the stars were mine.
Yeah. So I started writing this show about 3 years ago after I finished doing Company on Broadway, and I really wanted to make something that was somewhere between, like I do stand up and I also do cabaret and I do sing, So I wanted something that was kind of between a stand up show and a cabaret show, but also that talked about some real honest things, about my life. And so I made this evening that has slowly sort of formed over the course of the last couple of years. I've been touring it now for about 2 years, and it's sort of about it's sort of about my life, but it's also kind of about the nature of goodness and what it was like to grow up as a Mormon kid in Utah and think that going off to be a performer in New York was kind of the bad thing to do, and then getting there and having a child and kind of um and then just like showbiz stories, like stories about working with Stephen Sondheim through my early career and working on The Gilded Age on TV and things like that. So it runs the gamut. It runs the gamut of a lot of things, and the music is sort of everything from musical theater to covers of pop songs to jazz.
My other question for you is that have you
Yeah,
been to Madison before this?
I've never been to Madison. This is my first time.
And have
I'm
you heard
excited.
any delicious gossip or tidbits about our fair city?
No, I've just heard that lots of people want to play the Overture Center because they say that it's such a great space and like, it, you know, touring these kind of cabaret shows. I know a lot of people that do them, and
Mhm.
when I'm going to a place and I know that a person has played there, I'll be like, "What was it like? What's the sound like?" And every time I've talked to somebody about it, they're like, "It's amazing. The people are so nice. They take such good care of you. The space is incredible." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!" So I can't wait to be there.
Yeah, the venue that you're in, the Capitol Theater, was an old vaudeville house, but they had restored it. It's really really a lovely venue. I'm so happy that people that are doing things other than coming in to do a Broadway show get to know who the people are and get to know your backstory and get to know the history because you have a fascinating story. And
Yeah.
the fact that the people may only know you from the Gilded Age on HBO, but
Yeah.
they wait a minute, he was you have Broadway credits and you worked with Sondheim. What was that like?
Yeah. Yeah. It is amazing. I do, doing cabaret and actually going to see cabaret kind of performance would be one of my favorite things to do, just because you get an insight into somebody that you may have seen as a character, you may have seen in roles before, but you get an insight into who they are. And you get to, and as a performer, you get to kind of sing songs not from a character standpoint, but from your own personal, like. And it's one of my favorite art forms. I really do love it.
Cool. What was one anecdote can you give us briefly about your appearance in Bonnie and Clyde?
You know what? I tell a story on my
You can get all
show.
your stories that people have to buy a ticket for,
I know
right?
you have to buy a ticket because it is the worst thing that ever happened to me in a Broadway show happens on stage during Bonnie and Clyde, and it's a story that I tell a lot because it is just like a wildly terrible collection of things happened to me one night in that show that are very funny. So I will say lots of funny things happen, but I will say that there were a lot of, that was it was a show about gunfights and things like
Mhm.
that. And there was I died at the end of the show. Spoiler.
I know, spoiler
And
alert.
one thing that I don't tell a lot of people, but I had worked on the show for like 5 years before we got it to Broadway. And when I died, they would like smear this red gooey stuff on my face to make it look like I'd been shot. And my wife, like the woman who played my wife, sang this whole song, and then I died, and then they buried me while I was on stage, and had to go off stage and get showered to come back on stage for curtain call because they don't want you to come out on curtain call covered in blood. It's a little depressing. So they're like, clean it up. So I'd have to run backstage and take a shower really fast. And my dresser was standing up. I got this giant jar, and every single performance of the Broadway show, I would come off stage and smear some of the stuff off and smear it into the jar. I called it the bits of my character's name was Buck, and I called it the bits of Buck jar. And so I have my big souvenir from that show is this giant jar that's full of gooey blood that I had the whole cast and crew sign. I had signed the jar. And I have this just weird jar that sits on my on the bookshelf. My husband hates it. And
I'll bet. So, if you can, this may take you a second or two, give me a lovely, lovely sound bite about why people should come and see you in your cabaret show.
okay, this is great. This will take a second. What should I say? Okay. Hey there, my name is Claybourne Elder. You can come and see me at the Overture Center on November 6th. I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite backstage stories from Broadway, some of my favorite stories from working on The Gilded Age on HBO, and talking about my life as a ex-Mormon gay dad who came to New York to make it big. So come and see me. It's a funny, heartfelt night.
Perfect.
Okay.
That'll be the bite they'll use on all the PR.
Great.
I love it. I love it. Clay, thank you so much for taking time out and doing this. I cannot wait to see and hear you next
I'm
month.
so glad. Will you come backstage after and say hi?
I would love to bring my husband
Okay.
back to meet you. I would
Perfect.
adore
right.
that. I really would.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Clay. Thank you
Of
so much.
course.
Have a rest
course.
wonderful day, and we'll
You too.
see you soon.
All right. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Get what you
Bye.
wish only
Bye-bye.
just for a moment. These are dangerous woods. Let the moment go. Don't forget it for a moment, though. Just remembering you've had an and when you're back to or.